It was early morning when Daniel caught Anna sitting outside in the backyard, her arms shaking as she hugged her knees. He had just returned from a business trip in Port Harcourt, earlier than expected. He didn't say a word at first. He simply stood there in silence, watching her from the shadows, confused by the way she stared into nothing. When he finally stepped forward, she flinched. He asked her if she was okay, and she nodded too quickly. That was when he noticed the way her hands trembled. Something was off. Very off. Daniel left her there and went inside. He called out for Michael, the gate man, who usually came around that hour to clean the compound. No answer. He walked to the gatehouse, knocked twice, and pushed the door open. The bed was laid, everything neat, but the air felt thick, like something just happened there. His eyes landed on a stainless flask sitting by the foot of the bed. He recognized it immediately. It was the same flask he bought for Anna on her birthday. That was when his stomach turned. Something ugly was starting to form in his mind. And once it entered, it refused to leave. Anna had never loved Daniel. Not from the beginning. She had said yes because her mother said rich men don't come twice. Her younger brother needed surgery. Her father's farm had been seized. And Daniel had offered marriage like a rescue boat. She didn't expect fireworks or deep laughter. She only hoped she would learn to live with the emptiness. At least, she told herself, he wasn't cruel. And to be fair, he never shouted, never raised a hand. He gave her money, built a house for her mother, even paid for her brother's treatment without blinking. But there was no love. She tried to act grateful. She played her role well, smiled at dinners, dressed up when he needed her to. But at night, when the house became too quiet, she would lie awake and wonder what it meant to be truly seen. Then one afternoon, she met Michael. He was fixing the front light, and she brought him a bottle of cold water. He thanked her with soft eyes, the kind that paid attention. Over the weeks, their hellos became conversations. Their silences became comfort. He never flirted. He never crossed the line. But somehow, without trying, he touched something in her that Daniel never noticed. It started with a joke. Something about how loud Daniel snored after drinking palm wine. They both laughed too long and too freely. That was the first time Anna touched Michael, just a light brush of her fingers on his arm. He froze. She pulled back quickly, embarrassed. But the damage had already been done. That evening, she avoided the living room. She stayed in her bedroom, pacing. Something had shifted. Something she couldn't take back. A week later, it happened. She brought him food again, this time during a light rain. He invited her to sit inside the gatehouse for a moment, so she wouldn't get wet. She Saturday. They talked. Then she stood to leave, but paused. He stood too. Their eyes met for too long. And then she kissed him. It was short, soft, and full of fear. When she pulled away, she apologized and ran out before he could say anything. That night, Anna couldn't eat. Her body was still burning with shame, but her heart felt alive for the first time in years. The next morning, Amaka, the house help, avoided Anna's eyes. She did her chores quickly and kept her voice low. Something about her silence felt too careful, too intentional. Around noon, Anna found Amaka standing outside the kitchen with her phone in her hand. When their eyes met, Amaka looked away. That was when Anna knew. Amaka had seen them. Maybe not the kiss itself, but enough. Maybe the way Anna brushed her hair that evening, or the way she held the food flask tighter than usual. Amaka had always been sharp, and sharp girls don't keep secrets for long. Anna's heart raced. Her marriage was on the edge, and now someone else held the matchstick. Later that evening, Daniel returned from work with an unusual look in his eyes. He didn't ask how her day went. He barely spoke to her. He went straight to the bedroom and locked the door. She had no proof, but her gut whispered what she feared. Amaka had told him. She lay awake that night with her eyes open, waiting for a question that never came. But silence, sometimes, is louder than screams. By the next morning, Michael was gone. His gatehouse was locked, his clothes cleared. No note. No message. Nothing. Anna stood outside his door for 10 full minutes, her knuckles pressed against the wood, praying he would open. He didn't. She asked the security man from the next compound. He said Michael had packed his things around 5 a.m. and left in a keek. Just like that. No goodbye. No explanation. Anna walked back to the main house slowly, her chest hollow. That evening, Daniel came into the living room and dropped a file on the table in front of her. Inside were photos. Blurry ones, but clear enough. Anna and Michael. At the gate. Laughing. her hand on his chest, the flask in her hand. "I trusted you," Daniel said quietly. "I didn't deserve love, but I didn't expect disgrace." Then he walked out again. This time, Anna knew he wouldn't be back soon. Anna didn't tell anyone. She had planned to carry the pain quietly and let it burn itself out. But secrets have legs. One evening, she got a call from her mother. Her voice was sharp and cold. "What's this I'm hearing about you and the gate man?" Anna froze. Her chest tightened. She couldn't speak. Her mother didn't wait. "Do you know how many girls are praying for what you have? A husband that takes care of your people without blinking. And you threw it away. For what?" Anna wanted to scream, to explain, to say that she had felt more like a human being in that gatehouse than in her own bedroom. But her throat wouldn't open. Her mother continued, voice cracking. "Is this how you repay us? After all we've gone through?" That was the last blow. Anna sank to the floor, phone still pressed to her ear, heart pounding. Her mother ended the call without waiting for a reply. That night, Anna sat in the bathroom with the shower running, hoping the sound would drown the ache in her chest. She had broken more than a marriage. She had broken the one thing she had been trying to protect all her life, her family's pride. Daniel didn't come home that week. But on Friday, he sent someone to deliver a letter. It was short, cold, and final. "You don't owe me anything. I'm not fighting for what's not real." Anna stared at the words for hours. She expected anger, or at least a confrontation. But this silence, it felt worse than being slapped. She walked around the house like a ghost, touching walls she used to clean, staring at chairs she used to sit in with him. It was over. Just like that. Then something else arrived. A truck. Movers. Packing her things into boxes. Daniel wasn't asking her to leave. He had already removed her. Quietly. Efficiently. Like a business decision. The boys didn't speak to her. They just packed and loaded. Her clothes. Her books. Her shoes. Her shame. When they drove off, Anna stood alone at the gate. Michael was gone. Daniel was done. And now, even the house no longer wanted her. The gate closed behind her with a sound she would never forget. Anna couldn't go back to her sister's place. Not after her mother's warning. So she went to her father's house in the village. The neighbors didn't ask questions, but they looked too long. Her father didn't say much. He just nodded when she arrived and told her to rest. But that night, she overheard him whispering to someone on the phone. "I don't know what got into her. This is not how we raised her." Anna lay on the mat with her face to the wall, body stiff, heart heavy. The next morning, a woman from the church came by with fake concern and soft insults. "You young girls these days, always choosing feelings over future. If he was poor, would you have loved the gate man?" Anna didn't reply. She just sat there, hands folded, tears building behind her eyes. When the woman left, her father asked, "Was it love, Anna? Or were you just tired of pretending?" That question stayed with her long after he had walked away. 2 weeks later, while sweeping outside, Anna saw a familiar face driving past the dusty road in a black car. It stopped. Michael came out, dressed in a clean white shirt and dark trousers. No cap. No gate man uniform. He looked like someone else entirely. Her heart slammed against her chest. He walked towards her, slow and steady. She couldn't move. When he got close, he said, "I came to tell you the truth. The full truth." They sat under the mango tree by the compound wall. He told her he was never a gate man. He owned the house. He owned 4 other houses. He had money. Real money. But he had been betrayed before. By a woman who married him for what he had. So he started testing people. Living low. Watching. Anna's mouth stayed open. "You were testing me." He nodded. "I didn't plan to feel anything for you. But I did. And it scared me." She wanted to slap him. Scream. Cry. But all she did was whisper. "You should have told me when I still believed in love." The next morning, Michael returned. He brought food for her father. A gift for her younger brother. And a letter. He wanted to marry her. Officially. No secrets. No lies. He said he would wait as long as it took. Anna stood there, watching him talk like a man who had it all figured out. Her hands were cold. Her chest was hot. Then she slapped him. Hard. Across the face. He didn't flinch. He just stood there and took it. "I loved you when you were nothing," she said, voice shaking. "You loved me when you thought I had nothing left. But neither of us came clean. So tell me, how do we build love on lies?" Michael's eyes dropped. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. She turned and walked into the house. She didn't cry. She didn't break down. She just sat on her father's wooden chair and stared at the window, knowing that sometimes, even when two people care, the damage is already too deep. Anna's father didn't talk to her that night. The next morning, he entered her room while she was folding her wrapper and said calmly, "You'll leave this house by evening." She turned sharply, confused. "Where do you want me to go?" He didn't answer. He just dropped a brown envelope on the bed. It had some cash inside. "Not because I agree with you," he said, "but because staying here will finish you. These people have started talking." Anna felt her chest tighten. Even her father had washed his hands. Shame had followed her from the city to the village. By 6 p.m., she was on a bus heading back to Abuja. Her father didn't hug her goodbye. He simply stood on the porch and watched the vehicle pull away. She pressed her face to the window, heartbroken but numb. That was when she knew this wasn't just heartbreak. This was exile. The kind where even your family throws you out to save face. Her eyes burned as the village road disappeared behind her. She didn't know what waited in the city. She just knew there was nowhere left to go back to. Anna returned to the city with no house, no husband, no plan. Her sister's flat was still tense, so she didn't bother going there. Instead, she found an old friend who agreed to let her sleep in her tailoring shop at night. During the day, Anna helped cut fabric and sweep the floor. At night, when the shutters came down, she rolled out a mat and lay in the dark with her thoughts. It was a hard life, but for the first time, it was hers. She didn't reach out to Michael. She didn't care how rich he was or what cars he drove. The trust had cracked too deep. She poured herself into the small tailoring work, barely eating, barely speaking. She felt like a shadow of herself. But she didn't complain. Pain had taught her to be quiet. She knew people were whispering, some mocking, some pitying. She didn't respond. In a city like Abuja, nobody really cares why you fell, only that you did. One Friday afternoon, as Anna was trimming a lace wrapper near the front of the shop, a black SUV pulled up quietly. She didn't look up at first, but then the air shifted. She heard the driver's door open, then slow footsteps. When she finally looked up, her heart froze. Michael was standing there, not in fine clothes, not holding flowers. He looked rough, tired, maybe even thinner. For the first time, he looked like a man in pain. "Can we talk?" he asked, his voice low. Her friend stepped away without a word. Anna didn't reply. She just kept folding the wrapper, her hands stiff. He stepped closer. "I came because I couldn't leave things like this." She finally looked at him. "You already did." Michael nodded slowly, his eyes filled with something she couldn't name. "I know I broke your heart, but I also broke my own. Every single day." Anna stood up. "So now what? You want to fix it with another house? Another ring? What do you want from me?" Michael looked at her deeply and said, "Nothing. This time, I came with empty hands." Anna didn't let him sit. She stood with her arms crossed, back straight, chest pounding. Michael tried to explain again, softly, with all the gentleness he had never used before. He told her about the weight he carried, how trust had become a dangerous thing for him. He said he wasn't trying to play God, he was trying to protect himself from another betrayal. But every word felt too late. Anna stared at him like a stranger. Her voice was flat when she finally spoke. "I don't want a man who has to test my heart before he trusts it. I'm not a project. I'm not a lesson. I'm a woman who has bled enough." Michael looked down, shame written all over him. He said nothing. He simply nodded and walked to the door. But before stepping out, he turned around. "If one day you ever feel something again, even if it's small, come find me. I'll still be waiting." Anna didn't reply. She just watched him go. And for the first time, she didn't cry. Weeks passed. Life continued. Anna saved enough to rent a one-room apartment in Kubwa. She kept working in the shop and started sewing basic clothes herself. Her confidence grew again, slowly but surely. One rainy evening, she was locking up the shop when she saw someone standing across the road in the storm. At first, she ignored it. But when the person didn't move, she squinted through the rain, and her heart stopped. It was Michael. Soaked. Still. Waiting. She didn't run to him. She didn't wave. She walked back inside the shop, breathing hard. What kind of man stands in the rain without a fight to win? She waited 15 minutes. He didn't leave. Finally, she stepped back outside. "You're mad," she said, voice trembling. He smiled gently through the rain. Maybe, but I'd rather be mad and honest than rich and lonely. She stared at him, soaked from head to toe, and something inside her cracked, this time, not from pain, but from surrender. They didn't rush. No loud promises. No public declarations. Michael visited her quietly, helped her iron fabric in the shop, watched her cut threads off the hem of gowns. He came as himself. She accepted him that way. One day, she asked him why he hadn't given up. He said, "Because for the first time in my life, I saw someone who didn't want my name. She wanted my presence." And that was all she needed to hear. One morning, she opened her shop to find him waiting again, this time with nothing but a bag of bean cakes and a smile. "Do you still believe in starting small?" he asked. She nodded. And that was it. No wedding bells yet. No headlines. But the love was real. Quiet. Strong. Born in shame, tested by fire, and healed in truth. She never called him the gate man again, because he had never been one. And deep down, she had always known. The gate never closed. It just led somewhere deeper.